Hello, model car fans. Welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Revell, and this week I'm going to feature my finished build here of my Revell 70 Baldwin Motion Chevelle SS 454. This car, there's really not a whole lot of examples out there of what Baldwin Motion was doing to 70 Chevelles, and even in the book, it's kind of vague. The book kind of mentions one of them and the history of that specific car. It's all white, really doesn't have any stripes on it. And I like the car, but it's not very striking as far as got that wow pop appeal that I was really going for when I decided I was going to do this one in this mica red with the black stripes. But that white one, pretty cool car and known history. There's a few others out there. There's one that I got some pictures of. I'll post them on here. And I believe it went through one of the auction houses, which is where I found it, pictures of it years ago. And it's like a teal turquoise color with white stripes, and that one really pops. And love the way that one looks, and I was thinking about duplicating that, but I wanted a little bit different color, which is why I went with this one. And really wasn't going after a specific car, trying to, model a specific one. But that particular car really caught my fancy and just loved the way that one looked. And there's a couple of green ones I had found online that look really good, like those as well. But some of these, it's disputed whether or not they're actual real Baldwin Motion Chevelles or if they're tributes, or only Joel Rosen really would know if he looked them over and signed them off as one of his or not, because I guess he does do that. Whether or not they have the paperwork to back it up, which is the main thing with these, is really documenting them. And even as I read about the ZL1 Corvettes, where Chevrolet claimed that they built two of those, and there's a possibility that there's a third one. There's two of them that are accepted, well actually three, that have that ZL1 motor in them. And there's a fourth one out there. They're not really sure when it got a ZL1 motor, but it's got everything in there. But most of them don't have their tank stickers or any of that stuff to verify exactly how Chevrolet built those, except for one. One of them has all of its documentation from when it was sold new, and that one's well known. The other one is well known as far as history and everything, but the actual paperwork has been lost. But the verbal stories and everything go all the way up to like its second owner. And so that's just what I read on those. But anyway, that's kind of an example of what happens and whether or not they can be documented, or the history is known, but they don't know if it's actually came that way. So these Motion Chevelles are kind of the same thing. And I love the cars. Every one of them is different. Everything that Baldwin Motion did, they just did whatever they wanted to do or the customer wanted. And I just love that about them. So I kind of, carried that right into this. But in my opinion, I think Revell really did a good job taking their 124 scale heavy Chevy kit and adding a few parts and changing it up to build this. I mean, because it really didn't take much. A little bit tweaking the interior with the shifters and everything. And I don't remember the full details of the heavy Chevy kit because it's been a long time since I've had one of those in my hand. But I have one built that's pretty old, and even this kit, it's hard to believe this is from like 2010, so now it's 12 years old. But I bought the kit new. Actually I had a couple of them, but this is the first time I actually built it. And I enjoy building it, of course. And if you watched my channel, there were some issues I had, some struggles I had with it, and I didn't put a full-on effort into building a show winner. I just was building it, trying to enjoy it and not beat myself up too much over some of the issues I was having and hassles, because if I was going to stress over the details, some builds flow really well, some not so much. But out of the box, I pretty much left this one alone, other than changing the wheels and tires. So you can see them finally mounted here. There's the wheels and tires that are from the 70 GTX kit, and got the little bit bigger tires in the back, but you really can't tell because they kind of tuck up in there a little bit. And these side pipes, they just go on there really well. And these side pipes are from the kit. Everything else is from the kit. Kit doesn't have any rear shocks, which I think is kind of funny. Would like to have the Hono drive on there, but it's not included. And I thought about scratch building it, but didn't do that. Left the engine pretty much alone, the headers and everything. And it's got the shifters in there, which you might have to look at my other video because it's really hard to see in there. And detailed up the front a little bit, and it was quite a bit of work to get all that painted and everything. And under the hood here, that's everything Revell gives you right there for the engine, including those motion decals. They're on the decal sheet, and they give you like 7 of those. But I wanted to use different valve covers, but I ended up not using them. But put them on there, and then black wash the air cleaner, the fly eye air cleaner, to help bring out the detail a little bit. And the rest of it was just painted. One thing I did run into with this kit, and I have to say, be kind of careful when you put this thing together. These fenders, you glue this core support in, but I ended up pulling the fenders in a little bit. So when I was putting the bumper and grill on, it was a really tight fit. And then when I was trying to put the hood on, all of a sudden I couldn't close the hood because the fenders and the headlights were too far in. So I had to break the glue joint loose, pull the fenders back apart, lay the hood down, so that everything was spaced back apart, glued them back in, and glued the bumper back on to get everything to line up. So when I was gluing it in the order the directions have, I ran into that issue. And then other than that, I really didn't have any other issues other than making sure that the interior tub sat square in there, because it would go cockeyed one way or cockeyed the other way, and it was a little bit of effort to get it to sit square. But once it did, it was fine. And then there's really not much holding the chassis on. And getting this rear bumper, the sides curled in a little too much, so getting the bumper to glue in, I had to pull the sides out a little bit and get the chassis to kind of line up so it kind of all tucked together. But once I did, it went in really nice. And I detail painted that bumper as best as I could with the blackout, and put the backup lights in there because they're really not there. So I just put some white in there. And it's got a decal for that SS emblem right there, and which is engraved really nicely, but the decals are kind of nice too. And as you know, I painted the whole back section black, so you can see where the decal is more charcoal than black. And I had a little bit of wrinkling issues and everything, so the clear on here is a little thick. So if you're following my channel, you can see that. But straightened it all out, and did the best I can and smoothed the roof out. There's some wrinkling in the decals and some flaws, and I did double the decals up, but I could have painted those. I have another one of these. I might do that on that one when I get to that one or decide to build it. But it may be a while before I do another one of these. But I think I really like how it came out. So I'm real curious what you guys are going to think of it. But she's pretty sinister. Loving that hood on there, that L88 hood, which is an all fiberglass hood. Didn't put foil on the edges here because that would be the real chrome molding wouldn't fit. You'd have to cut it or everything, but I understand these are fiberglass hoods. And got the lights in there and the detail painting. Detail painting that grill is a little bit of a pain, but got that in a satisfactory position. So really happy with the way this one came out. Rearview mirror in there, and blacked out headliner, and the bucket seats and everything. So she went together really well. Fully enjoyed this build, so I hope you guys do as well too. Try not to keep my camera rocking around here. Just a little wobbly on this stand, but anyway, sorry about that. And another thing with this thing, right here, there's a mold line that's right on the edge of the fender, and the shine's kind of showing you, how it could be. I'll tell you, after priming, sanding that off, I really took my time and sanded that with a round piece of sprue and the sandpaper to keep that curvature in there and get that to blend in. And it came out really nice. And I know some of you know what you're talking, what I'm talking about. If you've seen this kit or you've seen the molding, they all pretty much have that. I'm not sure about the earliest releases, but you can see in the shine how I, sanded it and got that going there. So came out really nice, but that was quite a bit of work as far as the body work goes. But once I got past that and got the fenders where I like them, it went pretty well, and I'm really happy with the way she turned out. So I'll be putting this one on my bench and having a good time. I like these Mr. Motion decals. And it's got this one. This one isn't in the directions here, but it's the Motion Sports Car Club decal. So I put that in the rear window since it was included in the decal sheet. But it's not called out on where to put it or use it. So I had a little bit of fun with that. But it was on the decal sheet, so I decided to use it along with a couple of different license plates. But really, really happy with the way this one is. I'll put it in my case, whether or not I pair it up with the other Baldwin Motion cars I built or put it with the Chevelles. But anyway, that's kind of enough rambling on about this one. So I'm really curious what your thoughts are on this. And so please leave your comments and subscribe and all that stuff and hit the thumbs up. So I really appreciate all that. So you guys, you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next Saturday, and I'll see you.